Happy Tuesday and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I might look a little bit different than our usual host. Michael Rapaski is actually in Austin meeting with CEO of KW as a whole, Mark Willis. So while he is there, you'll be joined by me, Julia, as well as Wesley, who will be helping lead this conversation today. So we're actually going to be joined by one of our very new affiliate partners. Their name is Clarity Now. So I'm going to go through the events section a little bit quick, but I'm going to leave all the links in the chat. They're also in your email somewhere if you dig around through there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. Tonight, just so everyone is aware, is our Zoom career night. So please feel free to invite people. This is a really easy touch to send out there, whether you want to post it on Facebook or anyone you just know who's interested in getting licensed, feel free to invite them to that. Also, feel free to pop in. We love having you guys on there to share your own experiences sometimes when people or attendees have questions. And then here are some upcoming events. Again, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, but I'll put all the links in the chat. Tonight is the Women of KWGM September gathering. That's going to be in our Pepper Pike office. If you have not RSVP'd yet, you can reach out to me directly if you're still interested in going. I'm sure there is still room for you, but please let me know. You should have received the October training calendar in your email about last week. We have where it's a pretty busy month. Our biggest thing probably is going to be our business planning clinic. And I'll get more into that later. The Growth Collective with Wesley is continuing in October as well. If you were a part of that this September, it was a really great group. We had about the same people show up for everyone. It's a really good way to have accountability as well as camaraderie. Next is there's another young team panel this month. It's going to be October 10th in their young luxury office. You can RSVP there. And then here is our business planning clinic QR code. There's only so many amount of early bird tickets and they're already more than half sold out. So if you're planning on going, get your ticket now while you can for the discount. I promise it will be an amazing event. Scott Toombs is a great speaker, bold coach, and is pretty incredible. And then we also have Launch Plus in October. This is kind of a course we made based off of our launch program, but it's not only for new agents. If you need a refresher on any of these classes, feel free to pop in. Kelly Mann is a great instructor, and she also has some great guests with her this October. And then our Investor Mastermind Top Golf and Networking event was rescheduled. So it is now going to be October 23rd from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. All are welcome if you are an investor agent, if you work with a lot of investors, if you're more interested in our investor community. This event is to kind of network, meet and greet, and also celebrate 3 years of our investor community. And then we also have a core law CE coming up. So if you need these, which everyone does, we have a class coming to Pepper Pike this October. It's October 2nd. It's 3 hours, which is the typical amount. So feel free to just pop into the office and get that while it is here. And then another CE, we're going to have 2-hour CE on the 1031 exchange. So this is a pretty requested topic. So feel free to attend this as well. It's free. It's October 8th. Lunch is provided. And again, after I'm done talking, I'll share all the links in the chat, but that's about it for that.
All right. Hi, everyone. So before we go through our beloved typical partner updates, we're really excited to share with you a new partner that we have began working with, which is Clarity Now. And Jeremy is here and going to pop on and give you guys a little bit of demo on their program. But before he gets started, just a little notes on it. It's going to pair really well with our business planning clinic. We're in business planning season. And as we approach taking that class and thinking about goal tracking and our business for 2025, this tool integrated for you, our agents, during that business planning clinic is going to be really great. So I'm going to pass it over to Jeremy, who is going to be able to talk to you guys about this program and how it can help your business.
How are you guys? Thank you for having me. You guys hear me okay? Cool. By the way, Scott Toombs is absolutely incredible. So if you haven't already bought your ticket, make sure you do. Scott's incredible. And I also saw that Lucas Howard is coming a couple weeks beyond that. Lucas is also like one of the best people I've ever met. So you guys will enjoy both of them. My name is Jeremy Herman. I've been in real estate for 19 years, 17 years KW. I'm an executive maps coach. I've been a coach for 6 years. And I'm super excited and grateful that your guys' office and Clarity Now partnered. So what I'm going to share my screen here in a moment and show you guys Clarity Now. But what's important is that your office is providing this to everybody. So every single one of you will be able to log in and get your own account at no additional expense, which is super cool of the office. So thank you to the office for providing that to you and also for paying us. We appreciate that as well. The background on this really quickly is I think you guys would probably agree, but numbers are extremely important in a business. And I find that a lot of agents aren't great with numbers and spreadsheets are hard to use. There's not a lot of great tools out there that are especially colorized. So in short, I built a big spreadsheet that does everything. And my good friend turned it into software the last handful of years. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and give you guys a really quick, like 10-minute demo of Clarity Now, a quick overview of it. And let me get started here for you. Okay. So this is the actual product. So again, every single one of you will be able to carry, I think you have the landing page already built out, or we've provided that for you guys. You guys can send that to the agents. You guys can all go activate your account. This is what you see when you sign in. The couple things I'll show you guys is one, this economic model is incredible. And it's the only one that does what we do. And what I mean by that is, for one, it works for everybody. So I own a team. I'm a rainmaker. I'm on a team, which I love the status because I find a lot of team members don't always get great tech provided to them. Or I'm an individual agent. Quick note that if you own a team, if you are a rainmaker, and Carrie, make this note for you too, for the rainmakers, they should sign up first and then assign their team members within their account. That way they're paired together. They're not all individual separate accounts. So if you own a team, rainmaker sign up first, and then in the team functionality down here is where you'll invite all of your agents to have their own portal. But going back to this economic model, it works for everybody. But what's great is this, the only one, guys, that starts with what do you want to net? I think we all would agree that net is far more important than GCI. And yet every goal calculator that exists is based on GCI. And I just think that's wrong. I think that's dumb, frankly. We have to build a plan based on net. So for fun, I'll show you how this works. You'll type in your own numbers here. But if I want to net, say, $300,000 and my average sales price is $300,000 and my average commission is 2.7. On this piece, by the way, we're likely to see commission compression, right? And you guys may agree or not agree with that, but put whatever you want here. Put 2%, put 2.1, put 3.5, whatever you think is reasonable for you. The big point is don't change the net. See how the math shakes out first. What are your listing conversion ratios? What percentage of your business comes from listings? If you guys don't know this stuff, hover over the question mark and you can put, whatever says there, and you can tweak it throughout the year. Your buyer conversion ratio. On average, what do you spend per month on the business? I selected I own a team. I'm going to say I'll do $18,000 a month of spend, $216 a year. We also have a budget model and a legion model. So for business planning, we have 3 of the 4 models in Clarity Now. That's all based on the MREA. So hands down, again, the best business planning tool out there. Put in your cap. Put in your royalty, your $3,000. This is the one screen, by the way, guys, that changes depending upon your status. If you selected I own a team, this question is saying how many listings and buyers will you as a rainmaker sell without a split, without any cost of sales? Because that completely changes the math. If you're an individual agent, which most of you are, you won't see this screen at all. If you're on a team, you won't see this. Instead, it will say, what is your average split that you receive from your team? Okay. So in this case, I'm going to say I'll do 20 listings and 20 buyers myself as the rainmaker. Sign me up for 40 houses. But the rest has to come from the team, and here's my average split on a listing or a buy side. Do you have an ISA department? How many referral fees and units do you think you'll pay out, and what referral fee on average will you pay? Do you have any per transaction costs? Do you pay a TC company or a bonus to your admin, or is there any per office file fee in your guys' office? Lastly, what seasonality should your business be in? It's automatically going to be set at 20, 30, 30, and 20 per quarter because it's a pretty standard seasonality. And yet, if you think yours is different, change it, hit submit, and now every single one of you will be able to build a plan based on net. So in this case, if I want a net 300 grand, it's going to be 27.6 million, almost 750 in GCI. What I love as a rainmaker is I need to do 92 units. But what's neat is that I signed up to do 20 listings and 20 buyers myself. Now I know what my team needs to do. My team needs to do 35 listings and 17 buyers in this model. So now I know if I have enough people to go accomplish that. My cost of sales, 230 grand. My cap, my royalty, agent compensation, fees, admin bonuses. In this model, I'm 31% cost of sales, 516 a gross profit, 216 was my expenses, which is just short of 29%. And I'm barely over 40% profitable. So I actually did a good job as a coach here on this demo. Basically, creating a 30, 30, 40 model. A lot of times it's not going to be. You may realize that if you're on a team, you might be a 38%, 32, 23. Or maybe if you're an individual, it might be 12, 10, 75. That math didn't add up to 100, but you'll get the point. And how many activities you have to go on. So how many appointments you have to do. So first and foremost, activate your account. This is free for all of you because it's covered by the office. And now everybody in that business planning clinic can create their plan based on net. I'll stop there really quick. Put in the chat box, thumbs up, thoughts, questions, comments. Is that helpful? What's neat about this too, by the way, is you guys can create business plans for future years. So in that economic model, select 25, select 26, select 2027. Go ahead and put in your business plan for the future too. So if I want to net $500,000 and be out of production by 2027, go build it and see what that model actually looks like in terms of recruiting. By the way, not a single person put anything in the chat box. I know you guys like this. I have one person, Wesley, thank you for contributing. The rest of you, get on it. It's my coach and me coming out. All right. The next thing I want to show you guys is I'm going to switch accounts. This is the goal gap. This is critical. This is so critical. This is, I would assume, is going to be used by the PC program. It should definitely be any kind of coaching conversation. If you do one-on-one with your team members or a one-on-one with yourself, your team meetings, you should share this with your coach. By the way, your coach can have access to this, and make sure you give your MAPS coach viewer access to your portal. But what this does is it stems from what's called your business information. Now, this is a real account I'm showing you here. It says, what is your average contract to close? How long does it take you to go from listing agreement signed to day one on the market? So staging photos, etc. And what is your average days on market? What the system's doing is it's going to add up these 3 dates and subtract it by December 31st. And it creates what we call your goal gap report, which tells you that you only have 69 days left to sell for properties that can close in Q4. However, we only have 33 days left to take a listing that can close in Q4 because it's got to get on the market and sit in the market before it ultimately goes under contract to close, right? So you'll notice that we have a closings year. Your goal gap is also going to tell you your activities year, the 12-month period of time that we have to take the listings that will close January through December. So to read through this, you have your goals on the top, that's pulling from your economic model and your seasonality, and you have your actuals down below, okay? So this person, their goal is to get 12 listings signed in Q4. They've signed 10. Their goal is 17 for 6.1 million. They're at 12 for 3.4. Therefore, their gap, they still need 2 listings, 5 sales for 2.7 million to hit their quarterly goals. Based on the time they have left, here's what you have to do this week to stay on track. This week, sign 1, sell 1 for 300 grand. So any PC program, any coaching, this is really the MREA is what's the goal? Where are you at? What's the gap? How much time you have left based on that? What do you have to do this week to stay on track? That is the goal gap. So this is critical. The last thing I'll show you guys quick, and there's a lot more in here, but the last thing I'll show you guys is we're also the only system out there that now we're proud of that all of you will have at no additional cost that has a P&L. So now every single one of you will have a real estate MREA-based profit and loss. And it is the best P&L in the industry. What it does is it shows you everything month over month and total for the year. Listing income, buyer income, transaction fees. I can see everything by a dollar amount or by a percentage of total revenue throughout the whole system. My cost of sales, my gross profit, again, everything dollar amount or percentage of revenue. How much I spent per the 9 categories in the MREA and what percentage of total GCI that was. Any vendor income, profit share, net down below. If I want to see a deep dive of my expenses, here's all my financial breakdowns and the items that summarize each category. And then we also have a visual charts and graphs for you. So if I just want to see my March P&L or maybe quarter 2 P&L, I can now see that as well. So every single one of you is now going to have a Clarity Now account gifted to you, business plan, goal gap, P&L. You can track your lead gen. You can do a lot more in here. The one thing I'll tell you guys that we're excited about is we have been verbally approved to get the opportunities API within Command, which will be a few months away. It's not now, but it'll be a few months away. Hopefully by the end of Q1 is the goal. They're still building it on their end. When that happens, then we'll have a Command integration. So every single listing and transaction that you put into Command for compliance will automatically feed through into Clarity Now. For the goal is 0 data entry. Okay. Right now, we're a real company. We have several thousand users. Today, people need to enter their information. It is what it is. You got to get this information in the system. Okay, so if you go to transactions, I'll show you this really quick. This person, if I just want to look at their pendings, they have 15 pendings for 4.1 million, 96,000 in GCI, 60,000 gross profit. Every single time you take a listing or you sell a house, go into listings or transactions, click new, and you got to fill it out. This is a new pending. It's a listing. Here's the dates, client information, sales price, who sales it, what splits, what vendors do I want to use, hit submit. So you have to type in the data for it to know any numbers, right? The very last thing I'll show you guys, I think is actually, to me, one of the most important reports in the system as far as running a business is if you go into reports, there's a bunch here. There's lead sources, pipeline. You can do your lead gen and conversions in here. There's a lot in here. But if you click on the CEO summary and you select the drop down to the projected net profit report, I think this is probably the most critical report in the whole system. What it does is it takes your pending gross profit and your closed gross profit, not GCI, but gross profit, right? It adds it up together. How much you said you would spend per month from your economic model. Therefore, what is your estimated net? I can see that this person's going to net around 52 in September. They're making 13 in October. We're losing 76 in November. This column right here, paired with the goal gap, right? What do you need to do this week to stay on track? Those two metrics, guys, tell me as a coach and me as a business owner if this needs to be a focused production week or if I can slack off this week. Right? It's those two things. How's my future cash look like and how close am I to hitting my goal? The very last thing I want to show you guys really quick. And Carrie, this is important for you to know too. We have a help center. We have actually every single week there's a webinar you guys can hop on with our support team to get onboarded. But on this homepage, when you guys first sign in, this is what it will look like for you. Actually, that's a bad example. It'll look like this. Let me move my stuff here. Come on, Zoom. Okay. It'll look like this when you log in. And you'll click into the dashboard. This is where the product lives. On this homepage, we have how to use Clarity Now to run your business, how to do a one-on-one, how to run a team meeting, how to do my finances, and how to do my business planning. If you click on any one of these, it's all chaptered out. It's highly edited. It's me talking in most of these things. Everything you need to use, everything you need to learn to run the system is in these 5 videos. If you have more questions, let us know. We have chat support. We have a bunch of resources, but everything you need is right here. So Carrie, important for you guys too. Overall questions, thoughts, comments on the product, and are you guys excited to now have this no additional expense? Thumbs up. Nice. Clarity Now is power. John, thank you for that. Fantastic. All right, guys, I appreciate you, and I trust that you guys will love it. You got to use it. You got to use it, right? But I trust that you guys will love it. And if you do, tell your friends and other market centers so we can grow and hire more engineers and get more features. That's how the game is played. So appreciate you all. Julia and Carrie, is there anything else that you need from me in this call, or am I good?
No, that's all. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for going through that. We are super excited. We've done the demos and built it out so that our agents can begin using it in the next week or so as they prep for business planning clinic. So thank you for coming on and teasing what they are going to be able to be using soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy. See you guys soon.
Thanks. All right, so we will continue with our partners. I saw Rick on here. I don't know if anyone else from ORTs popped on.
Yeah, Janelle's on here too. First, I was going to say great event Friday night. Thought that was awesome. And then just kind of food for thought. This is just a random thing that popped up. If you guys are ever selling a family or home that has been with a, in a family for 80, 70 years, and there's been multiple quit claim deeds, feel free to reach out to us ahead of time. Lord knows that they often will quit claim things to other family members. A lot of times there may be trusts involved. We just have a file recently that's just kind of become a headache because some things were done improperly and there's multiple trusts involved. So if you ever run across a property like that, really reach out to us to see if we can maybe do a little digging ahead of time just to make sure that the chain of title hasn't been screwed up in the past so that you don't have any issues as we get closer to closing. Janelle?
That's a good tip for the day. I'll save mine for next week.
Thank you guys. All right, I don't see Renee on here. Let me grab the cross-country mortgage friends.
Morning, just me today. Don's having computer issues, and Chris is doing his civil duty of jury duty. So three updates for today. Number one, cross-country mortgage, we're raising our jumbo loan limits from 766 and change up to 802 650. So November of every year, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHFA, they announce what their new loan limits are going to be effective January 1st. We can calculate that pretty much ahead of time. And we're taking jumbo loans at that new limit of 802 650, no bump to the interest rate, doesn't need to wait to close. So we've got that ceiling. I'll put a flyer in the chat box here in a minute. Second looks. So if you're having a problem on a deal, even if you're the listing agent where, white flag's going up and it looks like a deal's is about to fall through, have us take a look at it. Don had a transaction closed last week. It was with another lender for almost 2 months. The week of closing, they declined the deal. Gave Don a chance to give it a second look. And we closed it, or I should say he closed it in 10 days. So absolutely, if you're struggling on something or just want maybe even some clarity, just feel free to reach out to any of us. And then, of course, touch on interest rates. So last Tuesday, for those of you at the meeting, Mike had said he thought the Fed would drop rates a quarter. I thought I'd point that out. I don't think that was recorded. I said a half, and lo and behold, I won that little bet. So Fed dropped a half. Interest rates really didn't improve because we knew what was coming. We saw interest rates drop from the end of July to essentially last week, almost 0.75%. So that 30-year fix is hovering just over 6% right now, and that's with no points. So the bigger news that came out was the dot plot where the Fed expect interest rates and their, I should say, not mortgage rates, but the federal funds rate over the next 2 years and 2.25 years. And the expectation I would have is, yes, we do expect interest rates still to improve, but I think it's going to be a bit more slow and gradual. So as opposed to rates dropping 0.75 point over a 6-week period, we're going to see little chunks here and there, and with the ebb and flow of the ups and downs of the market. So if I'm an agent and a buyer says to me, hey, I think I might wait for rates to come down, the conversation I might have is, they just came down 0.75 point. We're not likely to see a big jump like that. It's going to be kind of a slow burn from here. And even if we knew interest rates were going to be at 5.25% a year from now, you still might argue, get the house now at today's price, at today's interest rate. You can always refinance later on. So if you have any questions, obviously feel free to chime in or jump on the chat box or reach out to any of us individually. And like I said, I'll put the jumbo loan adjustment in the chat box here now. Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. Okay, and we have Liz from the Leverage Center, who, spoiler alert, has also been a part of some of those Clarity Now calls with the leadership team.
Yep, I've sat on some of the stuff. I've reviewed the program, so I am available to help agents, especially those I work with, getting everything set up and using the program. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to me. The other thing I just wanted to say a quick note to everyone is now that all of these changes have occurred with some of our new documents and the changes on the MLS. I have yet to see a contract where the buyer's agent has to take drastically less commission because they were unable to negotiate it. Almost every single deal that I'm seeing, the seller or the listing agent are paying most or all of the commission. So for any agents out there who are still kind of wary and scared about this, it looks like, you know, things are not that bad, if that makes sense. So just wanted to give everyone a little bit of a mental boost there.
Thanks, Liz. We appreciate that. All right. And I think that that was probably our last partner. So we're going to get ready for, oh, David, I'm sorry. I'm not controlling the, the PowerPoint. Let me bring you up. David from Keller Home Loans.
Last but not forgotten. All right. Good morning. One of the things I wanted to touch on just with kind of the overall trend of rates is the momentum that we're having. Right now on the news, there's lots of positive stories about affordability and rates dropping. That's creating excitement. Personally, I've heard from a lot of past clients over the past week or so, and expect, before the Fed made their announcement and then after, they're excited about, where rates are going. They want to check and see where rates are going to be. And that momentum is good for all of us. Just to give you an idea on the numbers, Fannie Mae, every month they put out a forecast on where mortgage rates will be for each quarter. As of June's report, they were expecting rates to hit a low of 6.3 by the end of 2025. In July, that number dropped again to 6.2. In August, that dropped down below 6 to 5.9. And this most recent report that Fannie released last week for September showed rates dropping at 5.7 by the end of 2025. So keep in mind, we were around 8% a year ago. So dropping over 2 points in 12 months time is a huge, improvement. And we have to kind of look at it that way and get that momentum and that word out to the buyers that are still hoping that 4% rates are coming back, because we all know they aren't. But if you paint the picture the right way, I think that's a good way to get some momentum for yourself at the end of the year here as we head into the winter.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And no, you were not forgotten. I'm so sorry. All right. So we are really excited to bring Wesley in with Setrena Young, Matt Chase, and Colleen Miklus to talk about 12 tactics to thrive in the shift. So I'm going to turn it over to him and them and take it away.
Thanks, Julia. Always good to be with you guys. Like Julia said, we've got a great panel this morning of some heavy hitters that have been around the business for a while that can hopefully shed some light on the shift. Right, we're staring down the barrel of one right now, but wanted to get some feedback from them on a couple of questions that we're going to ask around the shift and how they would proceed through this shifting market. So we've got Setrena Young, Colleen Miklus, and the often imitated but never duplicated Matt Chase. So we'd love to hear from you guys. So do me a favor first, introduce yourself, how long you've been in real estate, and how many shifts you've actually been through as an agent.
So hi, I'm Colleen Miklus. I'll go first. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so Colleen Miklus here. I'll celebrate 20 years next month. Been at Keller Williams for the past 6 years, and I've been through a handful of shifts, from the market crashing to a buyer's market, seller's market, the COVID market, and what we're currently in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hi. Setrena Young, been in the business for 36 years. So like Colleen, I've seen many shifts. There's so many that I really can't remember, other than the main one that to me was 2007, 2008 was one of the biggest shifts. But been through a variety, buyer's market, seller's market, so quite a few over the years.
All right, Matt.
Same for me. Got licensed in 2007. Seems like every year there's an up and down, a buyer market, a seller market. So been through it, a lot of it.
Yeah. Thanks for doing that, guys. So first question really is, how would you personally define a shift? And then how does your execution, or what changes with your strategy when you know that you're in one?
Hello?
Do we just start talking?
Yep.
I mean, like I said, I feel like the market sort of tells you, right? You can feel the direction, right? Like obviously it was a seller's market recently. Now we feel like we're shifting a little bit more towards a neutral market. Our team just stays active, right? Like if you're active in the market, you kind of get a feeling on what's going on.
Yeah, Colleen.
So to answer your first question, how would I define a market shift? I definitely would define it as any alteration in the numbers, like number of expireds, increase in sales, number of offers, absorption rate, multiple offers. And also now we have some new competitors in the area, and that could also affect our market shift. To answer your second question with regards to what are we doing, I think it's just a matter of analyzing your business, and do you need to double down on certain things, and finding the motivated, which is probably going to roll into your next question, but seeing what's working well with your database and what's not.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Setrena, any insight there?
Colleen, you keep stealing all my answers. Same here. The double down is so important, but there's a variety of things that indicates a shift. Of course, everybody knows seller's market, when there's not enough inventory, which we've had for a while, shifting a little bit now. Even things like the price, expired listings. Prior to, there were not a lot of expired listings. Now there are. So I think you have to stay abreast weekly, monthly, watching the market and analyze what's going on, because the shift doesn't just show up tomorrow. It's a gradual thing. And me, myself, have been caught in a situation where it did just boom, hit me. And so you want to stay abreast of what's going on with the market on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and I think a couple of you said it too. It's just like knowing your numbers and knowing where your business is at, which I think, from what we just saw, the presentation from Jeremy, I think that's going to be crucial going forward, is to make sure that everybody kind of understands where you're at in your business. So yeah, those are great thoughts. Carrie has up here the 12 shift tactics, right, from the book Shift by Gary Keller. For you guys, for the three of you, we'll start with Colleen, because you kind of mentioned what you thought would be the most important for the current market. So not necessarily what you would consider to be the most important in any shift, but in this current market, which do you feel like of these 12 tactics are the most important, and why? Colleen, you're on mute.
Sorry. So I find two of them important. Finding the motivated and bulletproofing transactions. Mutual releases are up around 4 to 5%. And I think but I know the most valuable asset we have in our business is our database, and we need to touch it. So whether it's doubling down on having more coffees, more lunches, what does your monthly marketing plan look like for October for your database? Same with November and December, because we're about to enter Q4 next week. And how are you touching that database to get business? Because what worked in the past may not be working now. And then bulletproofing those transactions. Some of us are dealing with some still newer agents who don't really know how to negotiate an ROC, negotiate best terms for your buyer, best terms for your seller. Always remember what hat you're wearing when you are representing those clients. But I definitely think the database, doubling down on the database is key. Gary said that we should have a 72 touch program, not really a 36, because of the implementation of videos. And so are you doing, and do you have those videos? I know my coach has challenged me to do more videos, get out of my comfort zone and doubling down on all that, because your database wants to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, Colleen, since you're a mainly database focused business, how have you seen what you did maybe a year ago shift to even what you're doing now?
I think it's really Wesley, just having completes, so to speak. And what is a complete in your database? Your name, address, phone number, and email, right? And where do you have the missing completes? And they may not touch base with you because they don't need real estate right now, right? They may not need you right now. So, you get a lot of agents say, oh, well, I touch base, but I haven't heard back from them. But where do the opportunities lie if you are touching them? Who is holding you accountable? And do you have maybe a sphere of influence or a database hour built into your schedule? Let's say it's Thursdays at 3 o'clock, so that you can kind of dive into, if you're overwhelmed by your database, follow the DTD2 schedule and clean it up and get the 100% complete. Because when you want to send out a video and email blasted, or you're calling or touching base, you really have to be focused on having those completes in your database.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Setrena, any thoughts on which tactic you would consider to be most important and why for the current market?
Well, I chose the same four because finding the motivated, that's regardless, that's just the business is lead generation. And the second also was double down on the database. And one thing that I've noticed with the database, in addition to having the complete email, phone number, names, what's really been helpful are my notes, knowing with little things. When I call Colleen, I know that she has 2 kids. I know that somebody just got a job. I know that the last conversation we had, their aunt was thinking about this. And that has been the biggest thing for me, is taking good notes, because people say, oh, wow, I can't believe you remembered that. No, I didn't remember what happened yesterday, but I'm looking at it. It's in my database. But both of those to me is important always, and also in a shift, but is calling that database, making it complete. And even though we only had one, I think that all of that, you have to have get real, get right. Your mindset is just something that no matter what you choose, you've got to have the mindset to move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Matt, any thoughts on that one?
I mean, I was Setrena, find the motivated, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, and your strategy really hasn't changed over the years, right? You still have the same strategy of just staying active, which is what you said earlier.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? All this shift conversation doesn't really mean a lot to me and my team because we're prospecting every day, right? We just had an agent on our morning call this morning saying that she was actually calling old for sale by owners because for sale by owners expired just like expireds, right? So I mean, just staying on top of things, right? I mean, we get leads every single day into our database. We get expireds every day. We get for sale by owners every day. Of course, your sphere and all that stuff's really important, keeping up to date on what they're doing. But as long as you're active, I feel like the rest of it will work itself out.
Yeah.
Now, we got a listing last week from an expired in Cleveland Heights, $500,000 listing. And I said to the lady, how many agents called you? She said 3. And it was right when it expired. But now it's radio silent. So to Matt's point, calling old expireds, because people just stop calling. So there's opportunity there and they want to sell it and they decided to work with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Next question I'd love to ask is, as you look back on previous shifts, what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned going through those that you can apply now? We'll go with Matt first.
Did we mention finding the motivated people, Wesley?
Oh, okay.
But no, I mean, seriously, right? I mean, I remember so sometimes it changes a little bit, right? I mean, 08, 9, 10, I remember working with a lot of investors, but it didn't mean that's all we worked with. It just meant there were more, but there were still expireds, there were still for sale by owners, there were still database people that needed to upsize, downsize, move out of state, right? Like all those things. Jason Abrams always says it. People don't make choices based on whether interest rates went up or down. They did it because they had a baby, they are empty nesters now, they got a better job, they got a worse job, right? They do it for personal reasons, and those things always happen.
Colleen, biggest lessons you learned from previous shifts?
I don't really think there's one that sticks out, Wesley. I think it's just more follow-up. I think right now there's an amazing opportunity to make more money. We're already actually seeing it. I think there was a lot of hype around this EBRA form, the exclusive buyer's rep, we nicknamed it. But knowing your scripts and how to adapt, get ahead of the game and put it just into practice. I really don't necessarily, I think it's just the follow-up, getting the leads and making the deals happen. You know, we've all experienced the shifts, whether it be a buyer's market or a seller's market. And now these new forms and we have to adapt. I remember when I was at Remax and Dot Loop was introduced and we were just forced to use Dot Loop, a new system. Everyone complained about it, but you know, now it's amazing, right? Because back in the day we scanned and faxed things or we had to go meet people. But at the same time, I think it's just adapting and at the way technology is moving faster and quicker, these buyers know and sellers know more about the area sometimes when you show up. So you got to be on your A game.
Yeah. Yeah. Setrena, anything from you? You've been through a couple of shifts from being in the business for so long. Any big lessons that you could take away from some of the previous shifts?
Well, don't get caught up in the current market when it's great that you are not watching the market and seeing the shift, because the worst thing is now that the shift is here, as I mentioned before, and now you got to play catch up because I wasn't present. I wasn't researching. I wasn't watching the market. Business was great and I was booming, but boom, the market has changed and I wasn't doubling down on what needs to be done regardless of a shift. Regardless of a shift, just stay present and do the activities that make you successful no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of that, as you guys have looked past previous shifts, what were some of your biggest regrets that maybe happened during that, or what would you have done differently to take more market share now looking back?
Take more listings.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be more consistent. You got to keep a schedule and be consistent with it.
Yeah. Has that typically been easy for you on the schedule thing? Is that why you're saying that, or are you?
No, because life gets in the way and the kids and, you know, it's crazy trying to run a house and a business. But the joys of being a mom. But at the same time, I think, you know, the old bold law, it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And I'm really try to time block so that I get everything done. But I just think more consistency with the business instead of the waviness of the business and the roller coaster. If you are implementing and doing your follow-up when you have the leads.
So a lot of what Matt has been saying about just staying active.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been your
You got to
biggest
do this every day. This isn't a part-time job. This is a full-time job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know there's some moms with kids on this call. Colleen, what was your biggest takeaway, or what's your biggest, piece of advice for those folks that are, in a shift, trying to figure this all out, trying to obviously, keep home life all together and that sort of thing. What have you done that's made you successful?
I just use some leverage that if you can, you have your kids go to school. If you don't homeschool, they're in a schools with, a village of moms that can help you, cleaning people, landscapers. I mean, just using leverage at your house. I just don't have time for that. And I want to leverage out just kind of like in your business, right? If you want to scale out, you're going to use leverage, whether it's the transaction coordinator, a database coordinator, marketing coordinator, whatever. So it's kind of the same thing at home. And so wherever I can, lucky my husband and I are both entrepreneurs, so we're flexible with work and it's crazy and chaotic, but it all gets done. But I definitely think using leverage in my own home has helped me free up time to be able to do the things I can to start my own team and grow it the way I want it to be.
Awesome. Thank you. Setrena, biggest regret from the last few shifts. What do you wish you would have done differently?
It's kind of repetitive, but basically just stay present and stick to what makes money and lead generation. Just the basics, because it's just so easy when you get very busy. And I've seen it with other agents where they say, oh, I got 5 deals, I got 7 deals, I got 10. It doesn't matter what you have, know where you got it from. And for me, it's lead generation and database, whether it be expired, for sale by owners, marketing, door hanging, whatever it is that you use, you have to continue to stick to it. It's a system. It's not something that you do when you see a shift. It's a system. Just stick to the system, stick to the basics.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys that was a little off script. All three of you have mentioned how important it is to find the motivated in this shift. Setrena mentioned get real, get right. So as a coach, I'm always thinking through motivation. How do you guys, one, how do you stay motivated? And two, how do you keep your team motivated when the market is tough?
Well, I think when my team members are calling and they have success, so same for me, if you're doing an activity and you're having success doing it and you see the numbers, then you're automatically motivated. So it's a matter of helping them to be successful. Now we're switching up a little bit. I used to, most of my leads, over 50% came from expired listings. And I kind of shied away from that. So now that's on the radar. But we have about 5 or 6 other lead sources that we call. So when they see the success, then they're motivated to continue. Because if you do something and you have success at it, anything, weight loss, then you're motivated to continue to do that. So just helping them to be successful and basically understanding the importance of lead generation.
Yeah. Matt, what about you? How do you stay motivated? How do you keep your team motivated?
I mean, I think very similar to what Setrena just said. We have an 8:45 call every single morning, a Zoom call with our real estate team, and we talk about our successes from the previous day. If hearing somebody get an appointment doesn't motivate you, then you don't have a place with us, right?
Yeah, well said. Well said. Colleen, any thoughts from you on that?
I think accountability gets me motivated, because if I don't have anyone holding me accountable, why do I feel any motivation to get it done? And so I need someone to push me. And that's, I mean, that could go back to, anything in life, your coaches, your parents, anything. I push my kids as hard as I can because I want them to be the best. And so I think it's accountability on my end for me, and then accountability for my team. When I meet with them on one-on-ones on Wednesday, and we have a call 3 days a week at 8:30. It's also script practicing, I believe, because they're not going to be successful on your team unless they know what to say. And when they're setting those appointments, like Matt just said, and getting, hey, I set an appointment because I practice it and practice it, because they got to get under their comfort zone and they don't know what to say. I think that's motivation for them, and as they go on the appointments, because they set that themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I haven't heard, I don't think any of you mentioned, we talk about finding the motivated and lead generation. So talk to me about lead conversion and lead follow-up. How important is that, especially as it relates to, Colleen, you mentioned the 36 touch turning into a 72 touch. How important now is follow-up more than it has been?
The fortune's in the follow-up, right? So I think it's more so now than anything. They're the speed in which they want responses, some of these buyers and sellers. I think it's always been important, let's just put it that way. But I think now, with how advanced technology is getting, and I think it's just learning how to convert, learning how to close them, and teaching your team members, or if you don't have a team, teaching yourself to get better at it. Because like I said, mutual releases are up and deals are falling apart. So how can we keep those together and educate more agents out there, and to kind of, bring the parties together to get to close, so that we have a closed sale and a unit on the team.
Yeah. Matt, your thoughts on lead follow-up?
I mean, that's the only thing that matters, right? I mean, of course, your first phone call to someone, they're going to tell you they're not interested. That's the way it goes. I mean, that's, when you follow lead generation or lead conversion, we did a study with this recently, and like 80% of all agents will call the lead the first time, and then it drops basically 10% all the way out, right? So if you're 6 to 7 contacts into the future, less than 10% of agents are still making that call. I mean, that's easy business.
And it takes how many calls for someone to actually answer?
14.
Yeah. So Trina, any thoughts on lead follow-up from you?
Yeah, so that's most important, and we have command to help with that. If I call a for sale by owner today, I set up a task to call them again, and even the for sale by owner back. I had one for sale by owner that called me, but I called him for about a year and a half. He said, "Hey, look, I don't know who else to call because you're the only person that called me for almost 2 years." So the follow up is so important because even myself, I've lost because I'll look up and see a house on the market and I can't get mad at the person. Whoever followed up got it. So that, the initial call is just the start. If you want it converted, you have to follow up regular and have a system to do that.
Absolutely. And what you said earlier about keeping good notes about your conversations with them, especially when it's someone that you don't know or you've never met, is probably pretty huge.
Huge. Very huge. Yes.
Okay, so last question for the three of you. What are you most excited about in this upcoming shift? So looking at what the market is doing right now, all the recent changes from a compensation standpoint, what really has you excited? What has you licking your chops as we finish out 2024 and go into 2025?
I mean, I'm excited to take more market share and grow our team, right? Rapaski said it was maybe 6 months ago in a meeting that of the top 25 teams in the state of Ohio, 23 were created in the last downturn. Only 2 were after.
Oh,
Wow.
so those of you that are thinking about building a team, take notice.
Or just take a market share for yourself, right? Now's the time to expand the business. When everyone else thinks something bad's happening, let them sit at home because you shouldn't be.
Ladies, thoughts from you?
Well, regarding the commission and the change on all of that, I can say that my mindset was not right initially. And now I'm excited about that for a couple reasons. It's going to also lead to possibly getting co-brokes over. When I talk to so many co-brokes that don't have a clue, no training, they don't know what's going on, we have to help them. So that opens the opportunity for me to get them to talk to someone at Keller Williams. So that's another whole little part. I'm kind of excited about it because there's a lot of agents out there that really don't have a clue on how to handle this, what's going on, what the procedures are. The other thing that I'm excited about is to actually, sounds weird, but I like calling, is to get back to the basics with expired because I've kind of put that to the side from my lead generation. And public announcement, if you have a listing that's expired, I will call it. So be sure to call your own expired listings because if I call it, then I have a new listing. But I'm just kind of excited about everything that's going on right now.
Oh, awesome. Colleen, any thoughts from you?
I'm with Matt and Setrena both. I mean, just I'd like to take my business and scale it even more. So excited to build out 2025. And excited to see what Q4 looks like. It looks pretty big for us. And just kind of dig a little bit deeper inside, and where does that hunger and willingness all come from inside of us to, that those high D personalities that some of us are that run these big businesses. And make a change inside of you. I mean, if you're not willing to make that change in scale, you're just going to be sitting here and, September 24th next year at this team meeting. And what did you do differently this year than you did last year?
Yeah, that's that. I love that, right? You got to make a change in yourself. If you want to get to the next level, we constantly have to be evolving. If we all took the time to look at our mindset as much as we took, as much as we take to look at the numbers in our business, I think we'd be doing a lot more business. So I love that. I love that. Well, thank the three of you so much for taking the time out of your business to come and chat with us. Such great feedback, great information. But yeah, if you have any questions, you want to follow up with either of these three individuals, please reach out to them. I know all three of them will be more than happy to talk to you, in more detail about the shift and what they're doing to try to help both their agents and themselves to grow their business. So Yeah, with that, we will be done. I don't know if Carrie has anything else, but I think we're all done here. So you guys have a great day, and we will talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wesley. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye-bye.